Damn, Chief, I'm not gonna lie to you. We ain't got no video ideas for this week. What are we gonna cook up? To be completely honest with you, our Mickey Mouse run might finally be over. I ain't got no ideas for this week. Hey, don't even worry about it. I got an idea. You know that playoff video you made where you absolutely put no effort into it and just made corny jokes the whole time and put clips of basketball in the background? Run that back. Look at these views. Damn, you're right. Let's get into it. The semifinals have finally wrapped up for both conferences, and to say the very least, yet again, like I said in last video, it's been quite exciting. From Grant Williams almost dying from Joel Embiid stepping on his head, to KD getting eliminated because Devin Booker couldn't carry them all the way to 4 games, it's just been insane. So, let's talk about it. And the first series I want to talk about is the Nuggets and Suns, because man, what happened is nothing new. I don't know what's with the Suns and getting blown out in semifinal home games, but it's kind of crazy how often it's happening, and it's always due to a European-led man destroying them in every single possible way. I'm not really a fan of either of these teams, but if I had to choose a team I wanted to win, it's probably the Nuggets, because I want to see Jokic beat the allegations that he can't win the playoffs because he actually has a supporting cast now, and it's a lot easier for him to, play basketball when his teammates aren't DoorDash drivers. But in totality, I was pretty neutral on this series. I just want to see a good series, and I got that for, the first 4 games. And then I saw game 6, and yet again, I turned off the game at halftime. Come on, Phoenix Suns, lock in. I really can't imagine the pain that must be going through some middle-aged Phoenix Suns fan in Arizona because he spent all of his hard work on $1,000 tickets to game 7 and 6 this year and last year, just to see that each time his team was down by 30 at halftime. I know that man was struggling. My heart goes out to all of y'all. Next time Phoenix has a home elimination game, don't show up, because let's be honest, the Phoenix Suns aren't going to show up either, so why should you? Save that money, bud. I guarantee you'll feel better. Alright, now to go away from the negatives. Honestly, the reason why the Phoenix Suns lost was because, like everyone said, after that KD trade, they had 2 players, KD and Devin Booker. And if those two weren't combining for 80 points, yeah, they were cooked. They were losing the game. There's not much more Devin Booker can do. This dude was shooting a better percent from the field in all of those games combined than what I had in any of my classes. It was actually insane. Now let's all give Jokic his flowers because he was the main reason the Phoenix Suns went out. He was averaging a 30-point triple-double, and he was a playoff riser. Let's not get it twisted. Jokic shows up in the playoffs. I don't know where this narrative started that he didn't. But honestly, I'm just sad that we got a Cameron Payne Game 6 masterclass wasted on a blowout. Cameron Payne was lighting that shit up. For what reason? But hey, at least we got this meme out of it. And Chris Paul, I'm proud of you, man. Officially 2 years sober. It takes a lot of strength, but I'm glad he pulled through. But that's enough talking about that series. Let's get on to the next. Now to go to a series out east, we probably got the most uneventful series in these semifinals. It's the Knicks and the Heat. And the most thing that's eventful about this series is that the Heat won. Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Butler has officially carried an 8 seed to the conference finals. Now I know Stephen A. Smith and the rest of New York are all collectively crying in a room right now because they got bounced in the second round after finally winning a round for the first time since the New York Melo era. But yeah, everything was looking up for them. They won the first round, and then the second round they got to play a team who was the 8 seed, showing that they haven't been good the majority of the year and just start turning it up against the 1 seed, just for them to lose that 8 seed also. It's really tough, man. And to see that Julius Randle underperformed and was shooting 30% from the field, it was really tough to see. But at least Jalen Brunson decided to show up the whole series, making it somewhat competitive, and RJ Barrett once in a while was dropping some crazy games, like in game 2. But all in all, Jimmy Butler is still on a tear, and it's crazy. I don't know if this will continue against the Celtics. They're a great defensive team, but if it does, it looks like we're having another great conference finals with the Celtics and the Heat. But to be honest, I need to show the Heat's roster as a whole some more respect because every role player has been turning up. From seasoned vets like Kyle Lowry and Kevin Love to Caleb Martin and Max Strus. Everyone's been turning up and showing up in a majority of these playoff games. Obviously, some of these role players are going to have some bad games, but the majority of their games have been pretty good. Like, everyone I've talked about stepped up. I haven't even talked about Duncan Robinson, who's been doing pretty good in this playoffs. He's had a few stinker games. But the Heat's roster as a whole, they've been stepping up a majority of the time, which is why they're in their position they're in. Also, Jimmy Butler's kind of going crazy, as I said. But yeah, this Heat team is kind of crazy. But with all of that being said, time to go on to the next series. Now with by far the most popular series of the playoffs so far, we got the LeBron and Curry rematch that's been happening for decades, and this might be the last time they run it back. Now this series was really weird, especially in the beginning, since the first game was a close game, the Lakers won. The second game was a blowout, the Warriors won. And the third game was a blowout, the Lakers won. So the deciding factor was game 4, since the Lakers were 2-1. And in game 4, we had one of the best games of this postseason so far. Now, I don't know what's with Curry this season and deciding to fade away in clutch time in game 4s of the postseason, this postseason, but it's actually been kind of crazy. Like, I'm telling you, if Harrison Barnes didn't miss that Game 4-3 against the Warriors, we could be having a way different conversation about this Warriors team right now. Like, to quickly sum up what Curry has done in the clutch of Game 4s this season, he won, called a timeout with no timeouts left, he pulled a Chris Webber, and it almost costed them the game, and then he went to the other end of the court and missed a floater. So yeah, that was like a 4 to 5 point swing right there. I forgot how much it was, but yeah, it almost cost them the game. And then in the clutch of this Game 4 against the Lakers, he decided to take like a 35-foot three with like 10 seconds left on the shot clock or something. I don't know. Hopefully I have the clip right here on the screen so you guys can see it. But I get his Curry and all, but that's just not the shot you want to take. Especially when people flame Jordan Poole for taking that type of shot for the win in Game 1 against the Lakers. So yeah, kind of crazy. And he also got the ball out of a jump ball and just decided to throw it out of bounds instead of, trying to call a timeout. But after that Game 4, I started to see something that was kind of pissing me off when they were trying to talk down my glorious sweet king manifesting a 3-1 lead because of a corgi. Yeah, that's not happening. My king not going down in that way. Keep it pushing, y'all. Warriors won it in Game 5 with the Draymond Green masterclass, and everyone thought the corgi was real. And then the Lakers shut that shit up in Game 6 with a dominant performance and another blowout win for the Lakers this series. And I'm kind of glad to see the Warriors got bounced because at least I can see the #1 LeBron meat writer giving commentary about LeBron the rest of this postseason. It's going to be great to watch. Draymond Green, keep doing your thing. And before I wrap this up, I gotta speak about Jordan Poole, man. He has had 2 good games this postseason. Game 7 against the Kings and Game 1 against the Lakers. After those 2 games, he hasn't done anything. I have no idea what his futures with the Warriors is. But good lord, this postseason he has stunk it up. I have no idea what happened to him. Now for the final series of this postseason, which was the closest one of the semifinals, it was the 76ers and the Celtics that went to 7 games, where the Sixers once again went outside. This is nothing new. Now instead of talking about the series game by game, I'm just going to talk about the highlights, which was a few good James Harden performances that really carried the team and led them to those victories, and then Joel Embiid disappearing in the playoffs, averaging 10 whole less points than what he did in the regular season. The Sixers always seem to have a tremendous amount of hype going for them, just for it to amount to nothing every time it comes to the playoffs. It's actually insane. This postseason, Game 7s have just not been good in the second half. Every single time this postseason, when it's a Game 7, the first half, super competitive. Second half, third quarter masterpiece from the star player. This time it was Jayson Tatum, last time it was Stephen Curry. I don't know how Doc Rivers has gotten away this long with being a fraud in the playoffs. Every single time his teams have a lead, they choke it. Like in Game 7, Joel Embiid and James Harden combined for a total of 12 points. PJ Tucker played in the game for 20 minutes. James Harden and Joel Embiid played for 83 if I'm looking at this correct. And PJ Tucker scored half of their amount of points. In a quarter of the time. Game 7 was disgusting. You can't even blame that on Doc Rivers. Like, I really wanted the 76ers to win, and I wanted to talk about the series in totality instead of just talking about the absolute failure that was Game 7, but here we are. I want to talk about how Game 4 went to OT, and James Harden hit a clutch 3, and how that was just one of the best games of the playoffs so far. But no, I'm not. I'm talking about this absolute meltdown of a Game 7, similar to my Kings. But unlike my Kings, the 76ers have been here multiple times before, and every time it ends up the same way. Joel Embiid has been here before. James Harden has been here before. And every single time, it's a letdown. I don't know what they do moving forward, but they have a lot of decisions to make. James Harden might decline his player option, and from what I've been seeing, he probably is. Tobias Harris is making $40 million a year. All you really have locked down is Joel Embiid, and he's been a playoff stinker for a lot of his career. I genuinely don't know what you do with this team, man. Hopefully, the process will eventually work. It probably won't. 76ers fans, I pray for the future, especially if you're a Philly fan in general. Sports have not been good to you this past year. But with all of that, that wraps up my playoff talk for the semifinals of this NBA playoffs, and I'll catch y'all in the Western Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals. And before I go, let me give a prediction. Celtics are making it out of the East, and in the West, we're getting the Nuggets coming out. I want the Heat to win those so bad. Please, Jimmy.